Your time is up. Come on. By the way,
Yo, what up guys? Lanky Kong here with another reaction video. We got a special one today. It's the DK rap. They just finished this. I haven't heard it yet. I'm excited to listen with you guys. Here we go. Here we go. We shot this video a couple months ago. It's been a long time coming. We didn't have the song done at the time, but they needed it was a scheduling thing. Oh, Donkey Kong! He's the best. I love him. A leader. He is a leader. He whips us into shape. We would be nothing without Donkey Kong. That's for sure. She does have style. She's so stylish. I always compliment her outfits. I mean, how could you not? She's one cool Kong. That's awesome. Can I just say I'm so happy with how positive this is. It's just everyone's best traits put front and center. It's just beautiful to watch, you know. It's the
Even elderly women and children got involved. What a
First round set for 3. 1 Super Series Muay Thai, 4 rounds gloves. There is no room for error. Momotaro comes out kicking high. Look out for the rear leg ground kick. There's the first one from Pektan. If he goes to the body with that round kick, or he goes to the head, Momotaro could be in big trouble. Momotaro's got heavy hands. We know that Pektan doesn't like getting punched. Let's see what happens if Momotaro can land the leather to the jaw of Pektan Pekgundi Academy.
I like the distance game that Momotaro that move
Minutes ago.
Nice little left hand landing, distracting Pektan. It kind of discombobulates him a little bit, but he is throwing a kick, and that's exactly what Pektan is doing. You can just see the welting that is starting to develop on the side of Momotaro. It's because that left kick is starting to find a home.
Momotaro, you see there, he edged you with the jab and immediately got out of kicking range, expecting a counter from Pektan. This is what Momotaro is doing so well. He is not allowing Pektan to get into that range where Pektan can fire off that rear leg ground kick that is prime weapon for the time.
Stop!
It's a very smart performance from Momotaro so far. High IQ here from Momotaro. Jumps into range, fires the uppercut, wrenches him, looks for another dump, won't get it. Referee Galapagos breaks them.
That's it.
Oh, this one's going to be interesting.
Man, I would like to see 2 more rounds of that, Michael.
No draws in 1 Super Series. And look at the sportsmanship. Look at the martial art.
Your winner by majority decision from the red corner, Pektan Pekgundi Academy.
Hey, Jack, you were there. You were there for, you got wounded 3 times, twice or whatever it was.
Last time I got hit in the head. We had a 57 killed and 140 wounded. And like my whole platoon was completely wiped out except for about 3 or 4 guys, you know. And it's like, it's really strange. I went down to Indiana for my buddy's funeral, you know, because he was a real good friend of mine. And it's really, to see it, you know, what the people really go through, you know, when their son gets killed, especially a favorite son, like he was the only son in the family.
You know, I went to a war. I didn't get killed. I'm back here. He was in a war. He didn't get killed.
Yeah, for what? For what? Where's all the answers? Where's all the answers?
The communism should be stopped somewhere, and it might as well be in Vietnam, because first thing you know, communist China would love to get down into the Pacific. They don't have enough room for their people as it is, and they would just take over everything if they don't stop them in Asia.
I don't know. In every war that they say we fight to stop communism, it doesn't seem right, because after all, Russia hasn't lost a man. And look what we've lost.
Some of the boys come back and they say, those people don't even want us there. So that makes you wonder, doesn't it?
A lot of them were glad we were there. A lot of them hated me. Most of them thought that if you were an American, you owed them something. And I think we do owe them something. We owe them the right to live.
So if they had their way, I think that a lot of those people are peasant people. They're ignorant. They're going to go the way that the country offers them the most. Yeah. So perhaps they would go communistic.
That would be their choice, though, would it not?
As Jake said, yes, it would be their choice, yes. But we're trying to save them from this.
The only people that would suffer a bloodbath would be Tu and Key and all these people like that. But they'll never suffer, you see, because when they lose, they're going to take off to Switzerland and live off all the money they've been hoarding away the last 10 years. They'll never get touched. I think an 18-year-old owes something to this country, to serve.
We had something to fight for in World War II. And you had nobody that wouldn't volunteer. Very few wouldn't volunteer.
I wouldn't mind, I don't think, serving my time in the Army for the country, because
President Baptiste was my best customer, but I was in no hurry to meet him. He'd gotten a reputation for routinely hacking off the limbs of those who opposed him. His 7-year civil war has been described as a relentless campaign of sadistic, wanton violence. That kind of sums up Andy for me.
Hey Charlie, what do you got there?
These fluffy creatures called chinchillas.
Easy to understand why someone would choose to live this way, but what better way to find out than ask Nito himself? Nito, take us back about 10 years. You graduated from the University of Tokyo. What was the job searching process like?
I like documentaries, so I applied to TV stations and productions. I have generally disliked Japanese working culture and relationships in the workplace. I had a sense of anxiety while I was searching for the job, so I didn't take it too seriously when I wasn't accepted by these companies.
Do you feel like once you've passed that initial job search period that you've lost the opportunity to get a good job in Japan?
Yeah, I think so. One of my uni senpai couldn't land a job he preferred, so he stayed in school another year and got accepted by a good company.
And when you decided you were done job hunting, what was your next step?
I believed that creative writing was my calling. I was thinking like, okay, Now, years later, I am getting close to finishing my first commercial game per day.
Nito begins work on his game in the afternoon. He codes using the Unreal Engine, one of the biggest game engines used to develop for AAA game titles. His game title, Pole Stay, is a literal translation of hikikomori. The game is an old-school beat-em-up brawler, centered around a hikikomori named Susumu. The enemies are other members of society who are worried about him, want to mock him, or just want to see a hikikomori in the wild. And in my opinion, looks pretty fun. For lunch. Not being much of a cook, Nito usually sticks to frozen, retort packaged, or canned foods. He boils vegetables every day and has half at lunch and half with dinner.
I'm now talking with a BBC Greek team, so I'm watching their video and prepare for their interview.
We've been close to for long enough to catch coronavirus.
How long have you been creating the games now?
I started the development guides are written in English, so I needed to improve my skill. That was my biggest challenge to hard work. That's what I want to spend my lifetime on. And also, I have no escape anymore elsewhere. Game development is the final result. This is today's my snack. Sorry for eating snack despite I'm hikikomori. This is a raisin dipped in water, so it's soft and sweet. You can try it. And eclair. Yeah, that's it.
If the game is successful, what you wanna do next?
I'd love to travel around the world and try to port the game to consoles. You can check my latest development.
We're gonna make that awesome short rib ragu. This one is one of my favorites. I love to use pappardelle for it, but you could use any pasta you want. You could even use gnocchi, and we just made gnocchi in a couple videos back, so that would be great. Let's prep all the ingredients and then let's sear those short ribs.
A while back, I took note of one goofy boy who was on holiday in Afghanistan before having his holiday cut short by the fall of Kabul and had to be evacuated with the help of the British SAS. I met said goofy boy to have a chat about how that all went down. Is Miles. Hey guys, how you doing? And as he did with everyone, he invited me jokingly to come back with him to Kabul one day. Unlike everyone else, I actually said yes. But before we get into that story, I'd like to mention two things public in August of 2020. The United States... There's no Freddos, eh? Anyway, let's check out this TV. And there is the fact that on the way down here, as mentioned somewhere, I don't know if I mentioned actually, you can see the kids and whatnot, the beggars. And there isn't a fat kid in this country that I've seen so far. No, there was plenty of food. It's not like described in mouse famine or anything. We saw the World Food Programme planes as they arrived. On the streets, we could see them selling, you know, bread and everything, but still, I don't think there are many people eating as well as I am tonight, so. And I don't think there's many people eating this well in Birmingham, or anywhere in the UK, frankly, because this fucking tastes great. It's Friday today, so it's probably why. Meal number 2. Got pasta and some kind of chicken. No idea what sauce, but you know, lots of vegetables and stuff, so can't go wrong. And then just this, which is it's a garnish. It's a good selection of vegetables, but no, honestly, because you've got to keep in mind as well, like the food tastes fantastic, and there is the fact that on the way down here, as mentioned. So I found this big trash pile, all trash, things that Afghanis don't need. Loads of chairs, other crap, more chairs, some rugs they don't want. What else don't they want in Afghanistan? Gender sensitivity training. US aid Afghans value chains livestock gender and youth team. Oh no. Oh, it's all junk. Terrible. Then again, it could be trying to explain to the Americans they've got their own weird ways of doing things, let them do it. What else is here? Women's agriculture. Don't need that anymore. That's for trash heap. More gender sensitivity training. Don't need that. And had a quick shower before meeting up.
The power of no woman drivers. No accidents, flawless.
Well, the memes are different here, you know.
Like when the infidel's head explodes bottom text. Practicing your thumbnails, huh?
The power of no woman drivers.
Practicing your thumbnails, huh?
The power of no woman drivers. No accidents, flawless.
Well, the memes are different here, you know.
Like when the infidel's head explodes bottom text. That's what Milan would do.
Well, I wish our memes were so basic, but...
When you find great food, but it's from Israel. Including one of the best restaurants in Kabul, which, frankly, is really just a burger and kebab shop you would find in England, but with seating for maybe 100 people. But given the location, fantastic. After dinner, we headed back to our friend's house, and on the way back, I did start to notice more and more the stray dogs, which were incredibly timid. Not only because of Islamic reasons as to why dogs are haram in Islam, but also the problem with the dogs there is that many have rabies, and if you don't have a rabies vaccine and you get it, you can get in some serious problems. So there's also local disdain for them for a very legitimate medical reason. We woke up the next day and went back to the compound and had a quick shower before meeting up with another one of Miles's friends. And this guy could drive his own car as a taxi driver. so was able to drive us personally instead of having to rely on local taxis to get from here to there and everywhere. So we drove around Kabul a bit, exploring, exchanged our money, and then headed over to the black market, which in Kabul is a specific place where you can just go and buy literally anything, apparently. When we were there, it was incredibly unusual to film, so we did as little as possible. But believe me when I say you could probably buy anything in this place. They were selling American firearms, American gun oil, I think. I don't know what that stuff is. But weapon holsters, weapon attachments, repainting for your weapons, bayonets, anything you could think of, really, you could buy in this place. So we did a little bit of shopping and found some very nice things. Including, for example, these Hello Kitty Kabul t-shirts, which are just adorable. And I can imagine anyone's girlfriend or wife would very much find them funny as much as I do. And this is probably a perfect time to mention that this wasn't cheap, to say the least. And if you want to help support this work and others like it, then you can go over to my Subscribe Star, where you can give donations or subscribe, or if you'd like to buy some of it. The problem is ISIS and who's Taliban, so when people just start talking, it's probably time to leave.
Least chaotic day in Afghanistan. There's no single traffic lights, there's no seatbelts, no driving license, no insurance, but there is a lot of reassurance because this guy's a massive legend with driving. That's the way I could put it. And everyone else knows how to drive. Coincidentally, there are no women drivers. Draw the conclusions that you might see fit.
Fucking terrified, man.
It's okay, we're going too slow to crash.
But we just went to the market, very good.
Yeah.
Hanging out with ISIS and Taliban while they were buying their stuff.
Yeah. So Daesh, Taliban, and also Al-Qaeda, most likely, where the market's military surplus place, and there's an underground black market where you can buy guns, weapons, everything. We'll show the photos on the screen now. But the thing is,
the few photos we did take, I couldn't take many.
Yeah, because we can only stay there for about 10 minutes before people start chatting and going, these people don't belong, or question them. Because people are trying, trading guns, Taliban were asking for bump stocks on their weapons, as only the US doesn't have gun rights apart from the Taliban. So,
Taliban's like, shall not be infringed.
But we couldn't stay there for too long, so we had to quickly rush out, but we've got some good stuff to give to you guys.
If we get out of here.
Yeah.
But before we got to the market, I think it is worth mentioning, we were going through one of the many Taliban checkpoints, which are throughout Kabul, which frankly do make you feel safer, as there's never Taliban too far away. So if an ISIS attack does happen, there's always someone to protect you. But when we got to this checkpoint, the guys wanted to search our bags and just pat us down. So I spoke a couple of words of Pashto to this guy to try and ease him. And in response, he started speaking sentences of Pashto to me. I couldn't speak that much Pashto, and worried that he wouldn't find my silence very comforting, I decided to tell him that, sorry, I actually speak English mostly. And he was very happy about this and pointed over to a chap and said, English, English. This chap came over, and I got a bit worried. However, it turns out this chap was from Canada. Born and raised in Canada, say he had decided to go and join the Taliban and was now running Taliban checkpoints for them, which was a hell of a find. We had quite the chat with this bloke. He wouldn't allow us to take pictures with him, unfortunately, but he told us that it was very dangerous and we should always keep our papers on us, just to be sure, in case anyone gets suspicious about us, which is fair enough, given the circumstances. And then he started asking us questions about where we were going and whatnot, and it got a little bit tense, but thankfully it all smoothed out after the Taliban commanders came up and spoke to us, and our guide explained that we were going to go to market. Unfortunately, I later found out that the Taliban commanders, who were a little bit older, were actually muttering away in Pashtun about how beautiful I was, apparently. So I suppose I can tick getting sexually harassed by the Taliban off my bucket list. But after we finished with our black market dealings, we then went to another one of Kabul's finest restaurants, London Pizza. Because, you know, London is known for its pizza.
Afghanistan. So, of course, London's famous for pizza, not New York, not Chicago, nowhere else, it's London, of course. So they're right about this, so we're going to try some London pizza and see how it compares. So we're from London, right? We've been to London. We're the experts here.
It's kind of BS I have to listen to every day. This is Running on Empty Food Review. Anyway, There's the pizza. This is the London pizza.
How much was it? Roughly
£7 or something?
I think it was $7 for two, right?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
The pizza genuinely was incredibly good. However, when I was eating away through my chicken pizza, I did find a bone in my pizza, to which Miles very politely pointed out that, well, I didn't ask for a boneless chicken pizza. What was I expecting? Fair point. The next day, we woke up and met up once again with one of our guides, who took us to an incredibly modern mall, to say all things. I imagine incredibly posh for the people of Kabul. In fact, we went to a gaming store, and they even had PlayStation 5s. But if you looked around the mall for long enough, you could see the influence of the new government, with mannequins having their face covered with balaclavas or the like, or women's faces being etched out. And on our way out of the mall, we managed to come across a shop that was selling Taliban headbands, of all things. So we purchased a whole bunch of those. However, on our way out of there, I cut my foot on some dirty-ass razor wire that was just lying around, and panic ensued. We immediately went to the local pharmacy and got the wound disinfected with iodine instead of alcohol, for obvious reasons, and then went around trying to find a tetanus shot in the city, as I'd read on the NHS website that is what you're supposed to do.
This is where you do the middle finger. Fuck you. Oh, it's just a jolly fellow.
Unfortunately, going from hospital building to hospital building, we quickly found out that there were no tetanus shots available. So we headed back to the hotel, with me feeling pretty upset, but when we got back, a medical chap there was able to tell me that, don't worry about it. This happens fairly regular to most people around here, and as long as it doesn't start getting worse, then I should be fine, which made me feel much better. Okay, so we brought the Freddos. We're gonna give it to a local Afghan and see what he thinks of the best chocolate in England.
Let's go into
live reaction. Afghans react to Freddos.
This is how you open it in England.
Oh, well, we usually have a person do that for us.
Oh, how posh.
Well, Freddos are the highest branded chocolate, aren't they?
Can we see if the Fred actually survived the transfer?
Let's see his face.
Let's see.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he's smiling.
Fred is alive.
Okay. I'm gonna behead the frog.
The one other thing that I've got, some Pakistani made that we brought the other day. So let's do a taste test, just see which one's shitter. I'm gonna try some too. You wanna try some, Miles?
I think we just want an excuse to eat chocolate. Yeah, sure.
That is hard.
I kind of
melt it in your mouth first and then taste it.
Hey guys, I got a reaction. Tastes like chocolate.
It's not good.
like the Freddos were a bit sweeter than this. Wow.
This is very.
Let me prosper. Daddy say you want me to be lawyer, be doctor, riff raff, kitty gun, window shopper. Oh yeah, fine boy. Take away auntie, bougie, akile, oh I fancy.
Very bitter. Gave away 95% of the food we have in the film, and a hat. As in, literally, a hat made out of cat. Which, to be honest, is actually kind of less weird than taxidermying a cat. We then went out and filmed Miles's mukbang in Kabul's version of McDonald's, but don't worry, we gave away 95% of the food we have in the film, and some of the food we gave away to one kid who was looking through trash to try and make money from whatever scraps he could find. We knew that this kid, we'd seen him regularly as part of a group of kids who are either homeless or doing incredibly poorly on that street, so the hope was that the food we gave him he also would share with his friends. The next day was a quiet day in the compound, in which we mostly hang out with Tally the cat, which used to be someone's pet presumably, but ended up in the compound, and the manager likes to take care of, and nicknamed it Tally, obviously after the Taliban. We also goofed off and found a basketball court, and Miles managed to get a meme shot in one. Alright, let's go. Fuck. What? It went in!
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
And looking around the camp, we were actually able to find an old police mug from the previous regime, which they were using as an ashtray, but I cleaned up and still fits its purpose as a relic of the past. Otherwise, we took a tour of the panic rooms, which was good fun. So I thought I'd show off the panic rooms we got, because we got our rooms, which the doors are nice and secure, but not exactly bulletproof. So you have these panic rooms, the nice big bolts, and then some more locks here, and then this is it. Oh! Anyway, so this is the panic room. See, this is a nice defensive equipment, but then there are these things, which is food in case of getting stuck in here. It's beef stew. I'm sure it tastes as good as it looks. And, ooh, another one. Beef patty. Wonderful. I imagine there's a reason I kept in here, just in case. So there's a bunch of that. First aid box. Nice and stocked. It's got some. One of them will come around, knock on the door, tell you to come out. And I asked, how do you know it's one of your guys, not, ISIS? And he said, good luck. So there you have it. That's the security, which is good. It's very good. But again, it's also kind of funny. But we're no threat here. And then endured listening to Amy Schumer on the roof.
When a nude photo of you goes viral. Brave?
I understand the Islamic view on women now.
It's one of the wonderful things about this place is it's a very posh camp, of course, so only the finest things here. And so you go to the shop and you buy yourself some snacks, of course. Get some Kit Kats. Why wouldn't you get Kit Kats? Kit Kats, global brand. Could go wrong. Well, number one, it's from Russia. It's all in Russian, so that's one problem. Second problem is because it's Afghanistan, of course. This Kit Kat ran out of date about 3 days ago. So, and I mean expired, like that's the expiry date. So this was made, what was that, 2 years ago? Good part is though that, Kit Kats, basically Twinkies, I've been told. So they just survive in perfect form and well, it's not good, but it's food. The next day, we headed out to the British cemetery in Kabul, which is a sort of miracle and oasis of British culture in the middle of the city, and has been there since the Second Anglo-Afghan War, was previously accepted by the old Taliban regime and not destroyed, and under the new government is still tolerated. The guy who used to take care of it under the previous Taliban government was such a hero for the British that we actually gave him a Member of the British Empire medal in recompense. This is the last person buried here who was English. Apparently because her husband died here and she wanted to be buried next to him. At least I was told. So that's Dwight, Winnie Dwight, and Danny. Finally, Boris Johnson stood. Rumours that there was a shop sells mugs of just some random woman. It's a mug, I guess. But the next day was the most important day of our time there, as it was the 1-year anniversary of the fall of Kabul and all the United States embarrassment that was experienced as a result. Or as it is known to the Taliban as Independence Day. We had heard rumours that there was meant to be some kind of Taliban parade on Independence Day. However, no one had any idea what the hell we were talking about, and we had no idea where the hell it would be. So we just spent our time driving around. We quickly learned that it was a national holiday, and all of the stores were shut. We were driving around when we just happened on accident to stumble across the Taliban parade. And quickly joined in to try and find out where it was going. We then realised we'd actually joined the parade at one point.
अफगानिस्तान जिंदाबाद, इस्लाम जिंदाबाद, इस्लामी इमारत जिंदाबाद, तहरीक तालिबान जिंदाबाद।
A while, they'd be able to coast along on some savings or coast along on their parents or whatever the case may be. And look, middle class can mean quite poor in other countries. You know, we're talking about people that are earning a couple of $100 a month, all the way up to people who are earning a couple of $1,000s a month. This is called middle class. In other words, not very poor, but not rich. You see, if you're poor in China, you have no choice. You're moving from your hometown to the cities, to urban billionaires. What happened to Jack Ma? What happened to all these billionaires that suddenly get detained, who get disappeared, who end up being charged, who end up fleeing to other countries? It's certainly not an enticing prospect to become a billionaire in China, because it looks like as soon as you do, you get a target on your back. And in nowhere in the world
Perks of having a big nose. Your cat can grab it to kiss you. When both of you are having a bad day and just want a few peaceful moments together. Be thankful when Cat stands on her feet to hug you. Give Mom a body massage to help her relax her muscle after a long day at work. Find someone who looks at you. A cat is as great as having the whole world.
No. What? Yeah.
It's kind of frightening. I've been watching too many true crime videos and like scary like supernatural videos, so like no, I'd rather not. No thanks. No thanks.
What the hell is this? Okay.
World is getting brighter. It's getting brighter. The sun is coming, guys. I told you it was really dark, but it's getting brighter.
And I guess that would be one of the downsides of going west is we Come on.
What's your Father Christmas now?
Up here. Oh. Now then, what is it you want?
Want a motor car.
A motor car. Do you think Mummy should have a motor car?
Yes, yes.
I'll try hard to bring you a motor car.
Well, she got a big dolly tram, haven't she? A big dolly.
What's your name?
What's your name? Angela.
Angela.
Have a happy Christmas.
Say thank you.
Uncle.
Take your fingers out.
Goodbye, Angela. Clockwork train.
Yes, please.
You got room to play with it?
Yes.
Goodbye, Angela. Clockwork train.
Yes, please.
You got room to play with it?
Yes.
Do you know how to work it?
Yes.
Do you think that's all right, Mummy? Clockwork train in the house?
Yes, I think it'll be all right.
Do you think so? Is there a chimney ready for me to come down?
Yes. Yes.
Think. What makes you think so?
It's so disappointing that they would believe in Sansa. And what do the parents do? Do they give them what they wished? What told Sansa that they wanted? Like, come on, guys, headshot. It's too slow.
Duran with his posture. And Duran is saying, come on, fight.
Couple rounds. Yeah, and I to be honest, guys, I'm surprised that they're cheering. Now, now doing the Ali shuffle.
Last round. I think you're correct. I think it's Freddie Roach's nightmare. I think it might be Bob Arum's nightmare.
Again, that right hand working so well, and this is a very confident Hamed.
Well, look at this. I think he's trying to do all this for the Sheffield fans. He's playing to the audience, trying to taunt poor Padillo, who's taking all this.
Him up, and he's a target here at the left and a right back play, backing away, goes into a shuffle, a right back play, a left. Williams.
And I'm jumping around, and just before you know it, that's Ali shuffle from the side view. You see, that's the side view. And then this is Ali shuffle from the front view. And just as soon as you do that shuffle, a split second, right after that shuffle, it's a good punch. It's that Ali shuffle. And this Ali shuffle is something that's designed to make Ernie Terrell scuffle.
That's actually twice thus far in the fight.
Well, Jones said he wouldn't show up, and he.
So I recently learned of a really neat service here in Japan that I've never seen before. Receive as much as a home. You know what? Let me put this down. Way too excited about this.
畳んでみてもいいですか？
はい、お願いします。
バッテリーです。よいしょ。よいしょ。
ここに入れましょうか。
鳥、このバイクは1回の充電で約80キロ走ります。
これ
80キロ走ります。最大速度が40キロです。充電時間は6時間でフル満タンになります。今まで遠くまで走った距離は1回で45キロぐらい先まで行って、でこのバイクで帰ってきました。スピードが40キロしか出ないので2時間かかりました。最初の頃は距離感が分からなくて、最後はバッテリーが切れて、あら、小遣い稼ぎに代行を始めて、知らない方の方が行きやすいってことに気づきましたね。ですね。
So I recently learned of a really neat service here in Japan that I've half ago, I got hit by a truck here in Tokyo. It sucked, and it's been a surprisingly long process, so here's what happened, in the hopes that maybe you can learn something from it, but that with any luck, you'll never actually need any of this information. My external injuries are actually healing quite nicely. By the way, not too bad. You can't see the bone anymore. That's a positive. The internals still have some time to go. First, and very importantly, I want to start by saying that things could have gone much, much worse. I was fortunate enough to walk away with one night in a moderately questionable hospital and only a single fully broken bone. But although that bone is a very small bone that broke, its impact is unfortunately large. Like, for example, I may never play the tsugaru shamisen again. 10 years of building a life here in Japan around that instrument now. So it was night, it was dark, I was coming home from setting up the studio here in Akihabara and heading home. I live near Tokyo Tower, so it's really only about 20 minutes away by bicycle or by electric scooter, and that night I was using this here electric scooter. Now, in all fairness, this particular bike is actually fairly well lit, especially at night. In Japan, any self-propelled motorized vehicle like this actually needs to be registered as an under 50cc vehicle, hence the license plate and the little Tokyo Tower down there, and it needs to follow all the normal rules like brake lights as well as mirrors and turn signals. Also, for the record, this is not sponsored. I don't even think you can buy this brand outside of Japan, but it does an amazing job at lighting up the road at night, which is one of the reasons I originally felt safe with it. But based on Japanese genski or under 50cc law, you cannot use the sidewalk. You have to use the leftmost 1 meter of the roadway to ride these. I am right around the area of the Imperial Palace, well within my 1 meter, and I remember hearing the sound of a truck coming up from behind me, and next thing I know, it hits me. I am flying through the air, I hit the ground. I remember a taxi who must have been right behind the truck swerving to avoid me, and me thinking, I just need to stand up right now and be as visible as possible. Now, luckily, I tend to wear both a reflective vest and have a reflective strap on my bag. I definitely recommend it. Also, just a little tiny blood and gore warning on this one. Nothing heavy, but the warning is there in case you're squeamish. I at first did not think that the truck driver was gonna stop. It looked like he was just gonna keep going. And as my head was slowly exploding and I'm trying to wrap my mind around that and what would happen next, he came to a stop, thankfully. He jumped out of the truck, he came running up, he took responsibility, he was super apologetic, and he called an ambulance. And at first I tried to stop him, was like, no, I don't need an ambulance. You see, to me, it looked like I just had a bit of a scratched elbow. Yeah, it might have been dripping a little bit, but it didn't seem that bad. You see, the injuries I had hadn't quite set in at that point, but over the next couple of minutes, I would most certainly slowly become very aware that it was more than just a scratched elbow. This was just the beginning. The truck itself was one of those like Powerline trucks, one of the ones that had the big buckets on top. I do want to say that the driver of the vehicle was both very kind and very stressed. It definitely didn't come off as intentional, and I didn't want to add to the obvious multitude of fears and stresses that he was most certainly experiencing at that point. So I just chatted with him and tried to keep things light and reassuring until the police arrived. And oh boy, did the police arrive. Like, if you have ever had an accident or been in some kind of incident or even seen an incident in Japan, you will know that police officers arrive in droves. At first, it started off with 2 officers on bicycles, then a few more officers, then a few more, then a few in cars. I don't even know how many arrived at the end, but every single officer or set of officers had to take a look at my driver's license, copy down my name and address and phone number, ask me about my work. Sometime after that is when the ambulance arrived. And it was around this point, when the ambulance arrived, that I slowly had started to realize just how bad things were. So in addition to the very obvious elbow injury, I had also come to realize that I was missing both clothing and skin from the entire right side of my body. And by this point, I'd also realized that I had completely snapped my pinky finger. I just couldn't move it, and little by little, the pain was also starting to set in. And then the friendly officer came. Oh, what a great guy. Now, a lot has happened and I've learned so many things since this accident. So in the grand scheme, this one officer was just a drop in the bucket, but there's always that one person. And I'll share that with you right after I give some love to this week's sponsor. This next section is a paid advert in order to remember travel, that thing that we used to do a lot of and just money back. So I'm in the ambulance at this point. We've done initial care, decided what hospital free of this. So I'm in the ambulance at this point. We've done initial care, decided what hospital we're gonna go to, and all of a sudden this officer that I've never seen before pokes his head in from the side, looks me right in the eyes and says, "By the way, do you have a visa?" I'm just thinking, here we go. And I said, "I have Ajuken, which is permanent residency." And he instantly snaps back with, "Are you carrying your passport?" Now, I know that this may not have been the best approach, but it was late. I was incredibly tired and everything that had just... I looked at him and I said, "Are you carrying your passport? Who carries their passport?" Snaps back almost immediately saying, "You know, it's illegal for you not to be carrying some form of ID." And I said, "Well, you know, I have already given my license and other forms of ID to every single officer there. Why don't you go confirm with one of them?" He said, "I want to see your ID on my own." I handed him my license, he disappeared for a bit. He came back with my ID and with a brand new line of questions, which almost seemed like they were there for the sole purpose of seeing if he could trigger me or push me into getting upset. And it was at this moment that the ambulance drivers turned to him and said, "Sorry, that is enough. We need to take him to the hospital now. If you have any more questions, this is the hospital we'll be at." And they just closed the door on him, looked at me, and gave me a little smirk. Huge props and love to those ambulance drivers. You guys are amazing. You'll probably never see this, but I just want you to know that I appreciate the heck out of that. Wow. Now, for some extra fun, I had the good fortune of them bringing me out to a training or university hospital, which means I was the training subject for a young budding doctor, which I don't mind, but keeping in mind this was really late. It was definitely past midnight, maybe closer to 1 or 2 in the morning. And when you have a traffic accident, this may be the same in other countries, but they run an exhaustive number of tests. They do this like full body, all over pressure. It's very uncomfortable as a test, and I had more x-rays in that one single night than I have ever had or may ever have in my entire life combined, to the point where I actually stopped them partway through and asked them if there was something wrong with the x-ray machine. My hip alone, the number of different angles and x-rays they took of, but that wasn't even the most shocking part. Now, it is an ER and this may be standard practice. I'm not used to ERs, but when they went to wrap up my arm, no cleaning, no ointment, no cover of any sort. They just wrapped it in gauze the way it was. And I remember thinking, well, they probably should have cleaned that, and this is gonna hurt when it comes off. And spoiler alert, it did hurt when it came off. And then after that, I was sent off to do the payment. And most healthcare in Japan is covered by insurance to a certain level, but because it's going to be the insurance company of, you know, the driver or his company or whatever, I had to pay everything up front and then they pay me back. I was in that hospital for hours. I don't know how many tests were run, and for American viewers, Viewers, this may sound like a small number, but for me here in Japan, where you can go and get an x-ray and a CT scan and everything and walk out with a 20-some-odd bill, when they gave me a bill for nearly $1,000, I was like... Also, I'm from Canada, where healthcare is free, and also because healthcare is free, you would avoid going to an emergency room at all costs because they're always crowded and it takes them forever to get to you. But on the logistical side, they also gave me a CD that had all the x-rays and showed the breaks and all that, as well as an introduction letter to a nearby clinic where I would then start going on a near daily basis. Unfortunately, because this wasn't properly cleaned out at the ER, it got really bad for a while and the bandages had to be changed out like twice a day. And although my injuries seem really minor on the surface, like a broken pinky, smashed up elbow, and some road rash, it turns out they were gonna have a much bigger impact on my overall life for the foreseeable future than I ever could have imagined. And as I was starting to process and understand and learn about that, the insurance company started calling. On top of the obvious figuring out what the payment and the settlement and all of that's going to be, the other thing that the insurance company needs to do is figure out, I guess what would be called kind of division of fault, is what we might call it in English. It is basically a breakdown of what percentage of fault falls on each of the parties. And in a situation like this where someone's hit from behind, it's usually the person who did the hitting that bears the fault. But that actually reminds me, the day after the accident, I went down to the police station and spent a very large portion of the day with the police officers. We jumped in a police van, I guess, went down to the scene of the accident. They laid out cones, they got pictures, they went to all the different little spots. We basically laid out a step-by-step of exactly what happened in the accident while things were still fresh in my head, then went back to the police station, drew it all out on a map, wrote a full statement. I had to sign that statement. I didn't get to keep any of it, but in the process of doing that and having all the back and forth with the insurance companies, it all started to become very busy and overwhelming, and a friend recommended to me to look into getting a lawyer, telling me that if I get a good lawyer, more often than not, they'll only take a small fee if they manage to increase the settlement. So at the end, there's no minus to me. I did some research and saw that actually as a non-native speaker, having somebody to represent me in a situation like this might not actually be the worst thing ever. And so I brought on a lawyer, but the entire process basically starts now and looks like it could go for as long as the next year or even more until everything's decided and we know how long it's going to take for the injuries to heal. And really the injuries are the sad part, because okay, if you take a look at this side of the studio here, this entire side of the studio is built for shamisen. If you don't know what shamisen is a 3-stringed Japanese instrument. It is this right here and it sounds absolutely awesome. Let me move that there. When I came to Japan, I had one really big dream, and it was to learn shamisen and become apprentice of 2 big players called the Yoshi brothers. And for the last decade, I've been learning directly under the older of the 2 Yoshi brothers. In fact, the 3 of us have even played together on TV. I have made shamisen plushies, my own shamisen plushies, and I've built this entire section of my studio around shamisen. And unfortunately, when you play, you need to put a bachi right in here and hold it like this. The way you hold the bachi is very important, and as you're striking the shamisen, which happens repeatedly, fast, and very hard, the risk of it re-breaking my finger, as that is the exact spot that my finger is broken, is incredibly high. And the doctors have told me that realistically, if I don't want to risk breaking my finger again, I might not ever be playing shamisen again, which obviously is a bit of a shock to hear. On one hand, I definitely don't want to give up hope, but on the other hand, if it's broken, there's one more kind of issue that I suffer, which is if I don't have full range of my hand, the next big step, the next big goal in my life, which was to get my pilot's license to do flight training, I won't be able to do that either, as not having full range of my hand invalidates my pilot medical. And so since this happened, I haven't actually been able to go back to Kagoshima and do any flight training because I've been doing rehabilitation and trying to, it's getting better. It's almost like I can actually open and close my hand now, which is something that 2 weeks ago I could not do. Also, shameless plug, the shamisen plushies are soft and wonderful, and once they're fully sold out, they will not be made again. They'll be linked in the description box below, and they're one of my favorite things that I have ever made. Let's be shamisen buddies. I have been understandably cautious on the road ever since the accident as well. In if you know something that I don't, as well as I'm, what's up, Crow? As well as I am looking forward to the comments on this one anyway.
Come on, work with me. Jeez. Sandwich is ready.
Okay, a meatball sandwich.
Meatball sandwich. Okay, and so they buy the meatballs, they defrost them, and then, has that been microwaved or?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, what else do we have to make? Scarpello.
That's nasty. When a restaurant can't even bother to make a meatball, that's not a good sign, let me tell you that. Somebody should tell him the chicken's definitely dead. But not okay. What's the matter with these guys?
Okay,
Oh my God. What in the hell is that?
the Colosso pizza.
Wow. I mean, it's like someone's cleared out the fridge. Look at it. It's endless.
It has a little bit of everything except for anchovies.
Oh, that's dreadful. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The crap and the gunk on top of it is just hideous.
You didn't like the pizza?
He's not liking anything.
Oops.
Okay, now we have the chicken scarapella.
Oh. Wow. It looks dull. That's not right. Oof. It smells. Is that fresh? Can you ask them how old the chicken is, please? Whoa, that was nasty.
How old is the chicken?
I don't know.
When did we get it?
I don't know. We took it out of the freezer
Tell him it's
yesterday.
14 years old.
We took it out of the freezer yesterday.
It's frozen. It is not fresh because we can't afford to keep fresh meat here all the time because we don't serve that much. If he wants to donate money so I can make it fresh, no problem, but otherwise, tough.
They're not open for lunch, but so far, what I've just experienced, they shouldn't be open for dinner either.
He took out the freezer yesterday and doesn't remember when the delivery was.
Excuse me. Oh, dear. Excuse me.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Ugh. Under the tables, it's littered with gum. Colleen,
Yes.
look at that. It's everywhere. Ugh.
Absolutely disgusting.
Wow, that was quick. Now, how many's in the kitchen?
How many people?
Yeah.
3.
3.
There you go.
Well, thank you. That smells lovely.
Did you need more time to look at the menu, or do you want to jump
No,
in?
I'll order now, actually. You know that. I'll go for a mussel Bangkok.
All right.
A mac and cheese lobster, please. And then I'll finish with a lobster roll.
If you're looking for the most popular one, it'd be the Maine and the Connecticut.
Do you know what? Bring me the 3 of them.
All 3? All right, will do.
Thank you so much.
My name's Steven, so if you need anything, just let me know.
No, you are.
Just making sure if you need anything, just yell. If anything's bad, I didn't do it, though, so I don't want to know.
What was your name? Michael?
No. What?
Your name?
Ha, very funny. Ha, you're a kidder. When Chef Ramsay joked around with me, I think it added that personal spark of, oh, you know, Chef Ramsay isn't this evil devil that everybody sees him as.
Mussel Bangkok, first course.
Okay, then a lobster mac and cheese after that. Okay.
Then he has a chowder right now.
Mmm. A little bit watery for a chowder, huh? What a shame.
Hello, Chef. How are you?
Oh, very well indeed, thank you. You?
Muscles Bangkok. I'm Greg. One of the owners.
Oh, one of the
No,
owners?
No, I'm not the chef. Trust me.
Okay.
You don't want to eat my food.
What do we come from? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
So there's one more owner to come.
Yes,
Yeah.
Brian.
So David, Brian, and Greg. Whew. Okay, great. Lovely.
All right.
Confusing. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Burn your mouth off. My God. Fuck me, that's hot.
Lobster mac and cheese.
Excellent. Lobster mac and cheese. Wow. Thank you.
Speak of the devil, and I'll let you enjoy
Brian.
that.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm good.
Yeah?
Yourself?
Yeah, very well indeed, thank you, yeah. How did the three of you come to run a restaurant?
Originally, David and I had the place down on Avenue A, and then we decided to get out of there.
Fascinating. Okay, I'm going to tuck into my mac and cheese with lobster.
Okay, thank you.
Gets more and more complicated.
I'm figuring we send out all 3 lobster rolls on separate plates, dressed just like they would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, he doesn't like much.
What do you mean?
Food-wise.
The mussels can't taste of mussels because of stupid Thai curry Bangkok broth. Mac and cheese, it's chewy and rich, and the chowder, that watery. It's not how a seafood restaurant should run.
This is not going to be a good thing.
Thank you.
Right, this is the Connecticut, or the hot lobster roll.
Okay.
This is the Maine lobster roll.
Maine lobster roll.
Whoops.
Connecticut, Maine, don't worry about that.
And this is the New York City lobster roll.
New York City,
Yes.
Connecticut, Maine. Gotcha.
Already?
That's great, thank you. Right, let's start off with CT. Drawn butter. Horrible. Soaking wet bread. It's like eating a fucking wet diaper. So sorry, Connecticut, but I am moving on. Lobster's not seasoned. Bland. What a shame.
Why? All right, so what did you think of the Maine?
Pretty piss poor, to be honest. I'm gonna stop there. Thank you, Stephen.
Give me first the lasagna, and then you're gonna give me the sirloin steak.
You hear what he said? Make it nice, please. You got that wedding soup, right?
Yes.
Wow, that was quick.
We got
Thank you.
soup.
Lovely. It's hideous. Like a mishmash of bits of shit put together and brought to the boil, and anemic grey meatballs in there.
How was your soup?
Yeah. That's the wedding soup?
That's to get him in the mood to get married.
Jesus, I'd rather get fucking divorced.
Oh, my God.
And that's made fresh every day, is it?
Normally, our soups last 2 days.
2 days. How could it be soup of the day when it's soup of yesterday? And it's it's bland. Anyway, hopefully.
Hopefully the other dishes will be better. Thank you.
Bland, dude. It's bullshit, man. Must taste of something. They get stricken? Damn, that was fast.